career that lasts over decades and become an industry leader? So how can you become successful in your career? What does it take to build a successful career that lasts over decades and become an industry leader? How do you ensure that you build a personal brand that sustains over time and become a thought leader in your industry? What does it take to distinguish yourself in the marketplace and manage your finances in such a manner that you have a blissful life? These and many more questions are what we are going to be addressing and providing strategic blueprints to you on this year's CSS, that is the Career Success Summit 2026, coming on between the 30th and 31st of January 2026. I'll be speaking along some other great industry leaders to provide you blueprints on how you can position yourself in the marketplace, how you can manage your finances, how you can be the CEO of your career and determine the outcome of your career, and most importantly, how you can live your dream life and become successful. So click the link below this video and register to join this summit. It's a free summit, so you can register to join on the 30th and 31st of January. I am going to be speaking on visibility and marketing, and I'm going to provide you with some blueprints on exactly what you have to do to be a thought leader in your industry, and most importantly, how you can build a personal brand, both offline, in your office, in your industry, and online, so you become successful and live your life on your own terms. So click the link below this video and head on to the registration page. But listen, this is a life transforming summit that will give you the practical tips that you need in order for you to become successful. And guess what? It is free. So just head on to the registration page and register to join us. Also share the videos, share the promotions, share the registration page, and get your colleagues, your loved ones, and people that you care about. Let us help you, provide you with the blueprints that you need for 2026 and beyond so you can position yourself to become successful. Listen, 30th and 31st, spend some time to grow. 30th and 31st, spend some time to take your life to the next level. 30th and 31st, spend some time with thought leaders so you can be given the blueprints, answer any questions that you are having so that you can really become successful. I look forward to seeing you at the Career Success Summit 2026 as we take you on a journey of transformation, revelation, strategic positioning, and in living a successful career life. See you. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the stream today. Really excited for having you on the stream as we continue with our discussion for the March 2026 examination. And today's discussion is going to be very special because we are going to be spending the time to look at some of the few things that we need to understand in the respective subjects going into the examination, some of the concerns of the chief examiner, most importantly, the key issues that you have to take into consideration to optimize your chances of passing the examination. So we are going to be diving deeper and taking you behind the scene to look at the various things that you must understand from the perspective of the examiner. And also, let me hear from you in the comment section. Any questions you have for me, put it in the comment section or the chat box because I'm going to be providing you with some answers as well as we continue with our discussion. So any questions, put them in the chat for me as we get excited into our discussion. Now, we are in the week 7 for our discussion towards the March 2026 examination. Technically, it means that we have 5 weeks to go into the exam because the exam is going to be starting on the 2nd of March 2026 to the 6th of March 2026. So we are almost getting there, and we want to look at some of the things that you need to consider to put you in the position to ultimately pass the examination. So the question we have to ask ourselves ultimately is, hey, what will it take to pass the examination? What do you have to do to pass the examination? What is required for you to pass the examination? Now, in order for us to answer that question, it is important we also find out what has made people to fail the exam. Then, what has been the chief examiner's comments on the various subjects? And then, what are the things we have to do specifically in some subjects in order to optimize our chances to pass the examination? And these are some of the things we want to share our thoughts on the stream today as we go into the discussion. And I'm going to provide you with some blueprints on specific subjects, various things that you need to do. So let me hear from you in the comment section. What are the subjects you are writing? What subjects are you writing? Let me put it that way. What challenges do you have so far in respect of the subjects that you are writing? From management accounting, public sector accounting and finance, financial management, taxation, that's principles of taxation, advanced taxation, dealing with strategic case study, dealing with issues in respect of corporate reporting, advanced audit and assurance. Which papers are you writing, or what are the papers you are preparing to write for the March 2026 examination? And what are the areas of challenge that you have that you would want to pick my brain on? You want me to share my thought on? Put it in the comment section and the chat for me. Please remember to also like, share, and make the video reach as many people as possible so we can reach many people watching the stream. I want us to start from public sector accounting and finance. So for the public sector accounting and finance, it is important we understand what are we going to do. And I'm going to be covering each of the key subjects. So stay with me carefully because we're going to be going through based on the subjects that you are writing generally and give you some blueprint in respect of that. So give me a sec. Let me open up my pad here, my new writing pad here for us to continue with the discussion. So what does it take to pass the exam? Okay, what does it take to pass the exam? You see, when it comes to something like public sector accounting and finance, in the November 2025 examination, this is the examiner's issue. Candidates' response were generally satisfactory, and the pass rate of 29% was recorded for this date. Pass rate 29%. What does this mean? It means that on the overall, when it comes to public sector accounting and finance for the November 2025 examination, 10 people sitting for the exam, 2.9 people passed. So to make it simple on ourselves, let's say that 100 people sat for the exam, 29 people passed the exam, and 61 people failed the exam. This is public sector accounting and finance. So this is the overall, the whole ICAG for the examination for public sector accounting and finance. This is the overall. It tells you that a lot of people failed the exam. It tells you that a lot of people did not do well in the exam. So the question we need to ask ourselves is, why is this the case? Why is it that 100 people, for instance, sat for the exam and 61 failed and only 29 of them passed the exam? Why? Now, this is a great concern even for the ICA across all the subjects. And so there is this research document that is going around that the ICA is soliciting information from students, tuition providers, and everyone to address some of these issues because it's getting there. So why is the failure rate higher like that? Why is it? So for public sector accounting and finance, the examiner raised some concern which actually cut across a lot of the subjects. So I will not necessarily go through each of the subjects, but I'm going to give you blueprints for each of the subjects and how you can optimize yourself to pass the examination. So to the examiner, one of the things that he raised concern on was that some candidates demonstrated difficulty in understanding and responding to specific demands of the questions. So digression was on
the floor. People digressed. And this is a common thing around. So you read a question, you don't understand the context of the question, and then you provide a different answer. And this happens across board, generally in that regard. So understanding of the principles and context of questions is important. Because you could be writing in your mind, you are writing the right thing, but you are actually just non-fankwa. So how do we address this? It's likely that people will get into the exam hall and they are going to write things contrary to what the context of the question is. How do we address it? A number of things are available for you to do here. Number one, it means that you need to understand the context of the syllabus. Okay? Understand the context of the syllabus. It's very important. You need to understand the context of the syllabus because there are things that will look alike, but they are not the same. So if the examiner asks us, say in public sector, that for the examiner raised an example here that students were asked on the to describe the outcomes, okay, outcomes of the PIFA framework, but students were rather talking about the 7 pillars. That's digression. So in your mind, you are writing the right thing, but non-fankwa. So you need to understand the context of the syllabus. It could be in evaluation of financial statements that you are dealing with. And you are supposed to evaluate the financial statement, and maybe you are in the common size environment, or you are doing statement of financial performance in the PIFA environment. If you don't understand how analysis is supposed to be written, when you prepare statement of statement of budget performance in the PIFA environment, and you're supposed to write out your analysis in the PIFA environment, and you go with a normal analysis workflow, then you are going to digress. Then you are going to fail the examination. So it means you need to really study to understand the context of the syllabus. The second thing is exposure, okay, to questions. If you don't want to digress in the exam hall, then you need to expose yourself to questions. So for instance, in strategic case study, there are scenarios or circumstances where students are asked a question, then they are using a different model, which is not the requirement for the question. So exposure to questions will be important. So the question I ask you is this: do you have the ICAG question bank? Do you, the book you are using, does it have a lot of questions in there? Do you have an opportunity to get access to practice questions so you understand how the same topic is asked in different contexts? So that it can help you draw relationship between the topics and the areas of the syllabus. You need to expose yourself to questions. So 1, understand the syllabus. 2, expose yourself to questions. Why is that important? Because you then get to the next level and then you become familiar. So familiarization. Why? Because if you understand the context of the syllabus, you expose yourself to the questions, you're able to know, okay, this is how the examiner can ask it. When the examiner says this, although it looks like this, but this is not what the examiner is talking about. The examiner is asking me of something else and not this one. You need to familiarize yourself with the system, with the examination structure, with the context of the question. Familiarization is key. What does this mean on the overall? It just means you need to really create time for this, because all of these will be work. It's not only just about attending lectures. You need to sit down on your own and study and work hard. But that is the first thing. If we can overcome the problem of digression, Then we need to understand the context of the syllabus. We need to expose ourselves to questions, because that then will enable us to familiarize ourselves with the way the questions will be set. There are some of you, you are waiting. You are not doing anything like this. Then you're going to go to the exam hall and write something else. Because sometimes people fail the exam and they're like, hey, the way I wrote this exam, No. Everything you were writing, majority of it was just in Semununkwa. It was digression. You thought you were writing the answer to the question, but it was something totally wrong. Why do people fall in that trap? Because of lack of understanding of the context of the syllabus. Because of lack of exposure to numerous questions on how the principles can be applied. Because of lack of familiarization. And this is what you must understand to prevent digression. The second concern of the examiner is that a noticeable number of candidates appear to concentrate heavily on selected topics. So this is selective learning. Selective learning. This is one of the reasons people fail the exam. Selective learning. So there are some people who are like, hey, Charlie, I don't have time. I'm going to write corporate reporting. The corporate reporting, Charlie, console. Corporate reporting there is all about console. It's all about console. It's all about console. It's all about console. So, Charlie, I'm going to master console. Then, I'm going to master ratio analysis. You see, console ratio analysis. Then, I'm going to just, also master specialized transaction, business valuation. Charlie, these three, if I'm able to do it, is 60 marks. So, because it is 60 marks, I will pass. This is a recipe for disaster. Because telling me you want to master console, you want to master ratio, tells me you don't even understand the examination. Tells me you are not in a position to go past the exam. So the second reason why many students are failing the examination is selective learning. Please, whatever subject you are writing, you must understand that the examiner is going to be spreading his wings. Or you are writing financial reporting. Charlie, financial reporting, Charlie, console. Let's do console. Financial reporting, let's do ratio analysis. Charlie, financial reporting, single entity. These three, 60 marks. I mean, if you master these three, you can pass the examination. My brother, master only these three and go into the exam hall. I can guarantee you, and I'll put my last money on it, 99.9% of the time, you will get like 20 over 100 or 15 over 100. I can guarantee you that. Because that is not how the exam is. There is nothing like, if I master single entity, I'm gone. No. Are you strong in the accounting standards? Have you exposed yourself to questions on the accounting standards? Do you know how the examiner is going to be setting the questions? Do you know how the accounting standards apply in various circumstances? Because you can tell me you've mastered single entity financial statement, but you'll be weak in the standards. You can tell me you've mastered the single entity consolidated financial statement, but you'll be weak in other areas at the end of the day. So don't do selective learning. Or somebody is writing principles of taxation. Charlie, tax there. Just do corporate tax liability, do capital allowance, and what else? Corporate tax liability, capital allowance, and then taxation of individuals and partnership. Hooray, you can pass the examination. No, my brother, you're going to fail the exam. This is the second core reason why students are failing the examination. Selective learning. They just pick and choose topics and not exhaustively covering the syllabus. So how do we deal with this? Remember, cover everything. So my goal, as always, is you cover upwards of 95% of the syllabus. You're going to be good. If you're able to cover 95% of the syllabus, you will be good. So let's not do selective learning. Aim for 95% of the syllabus. Because if you master 95% of the syllabus, you're going to be good. Because the examiner will bring questions from all aspects of the syllabus. So if there are 5 key areas of the syllabus and you are focusing on 3 areas, when the other 2 areas actually have implication on the 3 that you claim you are focusing on, then what are you studying? You are only deceiving yourself at the end of the day. And that is what you need to understand here. That you don't just, boom, go away. No. You need to put yourself in the position where you cover upward 90%, 95% of the syllabus. So please, we are not going to do selective learning. We are not going to sit down and say, oh, Charlie, focus on this, you'll be okay. Because I've heard that. I've heard people say that. They are like, oh, Charlie, this subject, you just have to focus on this. You focus on this, you focus on this, and you can pass. No, it's a lazy approach. It's a suicide approach. It's an approach that is going to lead you to fail the examination, and it is an approach you don't have to go for. That's the second concern of the chief examiner. So number 1, digression, because people are providing answers contrary to what is in the question. Number 2, selective learning. People focusing on certain topics, and then they get to the exam hall and they get a shock of their life, then they begin to write absolute nonsense generally at the end of the day. Number 3, the third concern of the examiner. Time management proved challenging for several students. Excessive time was spent on certain questions, especially those involving calculation. That is number 3, time management. Technically, you cannot manage time because time, whether you don't have control over it, but it's called discipline generally. Okay? Discipline or time allocation. That's all. Being productive. Time management. Listen, for many of you, your problem is time. And you know why? Because you see, many of you, it is in the exam hall that you are now learning how to punch on your calculator. Many of you, it will be in the exam hall, that will be the first time you are learning to write well. I've had students who come and tell me that, oh, Nhyira, I got to the exam hall and I couldn't write fast. Because, I'm not familiar, or you don't really write regularly. You are working. Everything now is PC. You type in words, do things, so you don't write. So they get to the exam hall and then you can't write faster because you are supposed to be writing. So the next semester the person came, the person was like, hey, Nhyira, I wasn't doing the assignment, but then if I was doing the assignment, because I will be writing when you give assignment and performance evaluations and mock, I would have become familiar a little bit with my flow and I could have worked on my speed and accuracy. That is it. Because you see, some of you are going to get the shock of your life in the exam hall where they say, get ready to stop work, and for all intents and purposes, you've answered 2 questions. So time management is not in the exam hall. It is something you do from now until the exam. This is why you solve questions under time. So for instance, those of you studying under my mentorship, you know this. We have our live practice questions, right? The live practice questions. This is to help you. So you go on the portal, the live practice question is there, you click on it. Time is counting down. You have your calculator you are supposed to punch. Time is counting down. So you are, through the process, you are working on speed. You are working on accuracy. You are working on time management. So before you get to the exam hall, you are ready to handle that pressure. But some of you, because you are not exposed to that, and you are not going to be exposing yourself to that, when you get to the exam hall, that's the first time you are trying to punch the calculator. And you can't even punch well. That is the thing. Then number 2, in the exam hall, people attempting wrong questions first. Okay? Choice of questions to start with. So I told my student this: if you're in public sector, you don't want to answer question 1 first, which is the preparation of the financial statement. I don't care how smart you think you are, but you don't want to answer question 1 first, because you're going to fail the exam 99.9% of the time. That question requires a lot of time. It requires a lot of resources. There are other easy mark questions you could take, like taking all the written questions first. Then you come to the issues in respect of the evaluation of financial statement part. That could be much easier to take. Then you come to those other areas on the standard areas. Then by the time you are coming to the financial statement preparation, which will require time, dedication, and a lot of resources, you have already done like 80, 75, 80% of the syllabus, and you're in the right place to pass the examination. So choice of questions is key. Again, this is why you need to attend lectures. This is why you need to be trained. This is why you need to be mentored. It is not just about vibes and inshallah, I have bought books and I'm learning. No. It is not just about vibes and inshallah, oh, I've heard that Kwekwa Nancy is organizing some your friend is saying intervention class. Charlie, I'm going to Kwekwa Nancy's intervention class, and that is what I'm going to pass. No. It is a process. It is a culture. It is a personality. It is a mindset that you have to develop over the 12 weeks period, so that by the time you get to the exam hall, your brain knows you are not supposed to answer this question first. Go this way. Look for this question. Look for this area, because it's an easy mark area. You can take it faster and then boom, go to the other questions. So even in the exam hall, you are going to behave like an artist, where you need to decide where you have to go, how you need to stroke your brush. It is a whole act to pass the examination, like financial reporting or corporate reporting. If you go to financial reporting or corporate reporting and answer question 1 first, which is the consolidated financial statement question, there is a high probability that you're going to fail the examination. Yes, because no matter how prepared you think you are, the average person, 9 out of 10, is going to struggle with consolidation because of the structure, the context of the question. It will require more time, more thinking, more resources. Instead, what do? There will be a 20-mark question in financial reporting and corporate reporting on written areas. That is corporate governance. That is ethical issues. That is sustainability. That is issues in respect of sustainability reporting, IT issues, conceptual framework. These theories, you're going to see them 20 marks spread across. So the first thing you do when you get to the exam hall is to look for those written areas. Because you have read them, boom, take them out. From there, it depends on how prepared you are. If you are studied very well and studying directly under my mentorship for a certain style of mentorship session, then you can go to evaluation of financial statement. It's going to be easy, because we are going to be giving you the guiding principle, the exact thing you are supposed to do, the styling of the questions, each of the styling of the questions, what you are supposed to do when the question comes, how you are supposed to do your analysis when the question comes. So you go there. Then from there, you can choose between the standards and single entity, because single entity is a standard anyways. So you go to single entity or the accounting standards in question 2. By the time you are coming to consolidation, you have optimized your chances on 80% area. So you only do some key workings in the consolidation. Again, you will be taught, you will be guided. When you get to the exam hall, it is not about going to extract financial statement. There are some easy marks that we can take in consolidation without the need to extract financial statement. These are all things that you need guidelines on, mentorship on, to pass the examination. So in the exam hall, your time management will also be improved or will be affected by the choice of questions you choose to start with. And that is what you need to understand when it comes to the third point of the chief examiner, time management. So my question to you is this: how are you working on that time? Are you working on that time very well? Can you work on speed and accuracy? You need to train yourself. And that is why we demand a certain attitude and try to instill a certain discipline and personality into our students in our mentorship program. So we have the live practice question available. Assignments are going to be given. You will do the assignment. There will be a mentorship session with you to go through your script with you. This is what you wrote. This is what you are not supposed to have written this. It's a whole guiding session. So by the time you get to the exam hall, you know exactly what you are supposed to do, how you are supposed to go about it, because you have been given the blueprint on what the exam is going to be like so you can pass the examination. So time management, you got to work on that. And that means you need to expose yourself. You need to start studying from now until the time that you're going to pass the examination or you're going to write the exam. So number one, digression, because people provide answers contrary to what is in the question. Number two, selective learning, because people choose the topics they want to focus on. Number three, time management, because in the exam hall, people are now trying to work with speed and accuracy. By the time they realize, they are toasted. Then the fourth concern of the chief examiner was there were instances where candidates' responses suggested minimal or no preparation for the examination. Minimal or no preparation for the exam. This is the problem. Preparation for the exam. Because every point we have discussed so far, the point number one, the point number two, the point number three, boils down to preparation for the exam. And this is where the problem is. The reason why a lot of people continue to fail the ICAG examination is because of ill preparedness. And this is the chief examiner's report. This is not Nhyira talking here. You're going to say, oh, Nhyira is the one young. No, this is the chief examiner's report that, hey, there were instances where candidates' response. So the kind of answer people are writing down, you realize that, if you had studied, you won't write this. If you really sat down to read, you won't write that. And this is the chief examiner's concern. He says that, given the rigorous standard of the ICAG examination process, candidates who enter the examination unprepared are unlikely to succeed. Given the rigorous standard of the ICAG examination process, candidates who enter the examination unprepared are unlikely to succeed. Listen, the ICAG we have now is not the 2009 ICAG, 2008 ICAGs. Those days, you could download some past questions, do some shaba, and you go to the exam or you will find something similar to that and boom. These days, the exam is nice. The exam requires a certain level of intelligence, a certain level of preparedness, a certain level of attitude to pass the examination. So my question to you is this. We are in the 7th week. You said you're going to write March 2026. We are in the 7th week. How prepared are you for the examination? How prepared are you for the exam? Because everything we are talking about rises and falls on your preparation. There are some of you are still waiting. Because you are waiting 3 days to the exam hall, you are hearing that Kwekwanansi is going to organize intervention. Somebody is going to organize intervention. Because in your mind, you can use 6 hours to go through a syllabus that 12 weeks of studies couldn't finish. In your mind, you think a 6-hour class, a 12-hour class will give you everything you need to go to the exam or to go and pass the examination. Listen, if that is your mindset, you are smoking something. I don't know what you're smoking though, but I will be interested in finding out what the heck that is. So you need to prepare for the examination. Attend lectures. Study. Make time to study. Listen, make time to study. How do you tell me you want to pass the examination but you are not studying? Eh? How do you tell me? It's like saying that, Lionel Messi is going to play, or Cristiano Ronaldo is going to play, or Haaland is going to play, but they won't train because it's Lionel Messi. No, they train. Cristiano Ronaldo, he trains like hell. This is somebody, and Lionel Messi, these are people on top of their games, but they train as if they are now starting. Why do you think they are there? And every day they are training. Every day they are training because you cannot sleep and wake up and say, Coachy, put me on first 11 because I am this. No, you have to make time to train to be successful, to win the matches, to win the trophies, and become successful. The same thing happens to your ICAG career. You need to make time to study. But you're not training. You are not reading. You want last minute, last show. There is no last minute, last show. So if you wait 3 days to the exam and Kwekwanansi is organizing intervention and you go and attend Kwekwanansi's intervention because you think, Eja Kwekwanansi has all the wisdom in the world. So Eja Kwekwanansi will use 6 hours or 12 hours to go through the ICA syllabus that 12 weeks is not enough to cover thoroughly for students. I think you are really, really, I don't know. You're on something, I can't mention the name, but something is wrong. Something is wrong. And this is the concern of the chief examiner. These are the reasons why students are failing the examination. So let me ask you this question. Are you attending lectures? Are you attending lectures? How many hours per week do you spend learning on your own? The last time when we started, we said you're going to be committing between 12 to 15 hours every week. 12 to 15 hours weekly to study on your own. Because if you want to pass the examination, you have to commit 12 to 15 hours. Now, I know you're going to tell me, Nhyira, I'm a busy person. I have given birth to 16 children. I have to cook for my husband. I need to work. I need to do this. I need to do this. With all the busyness, you get time to watch movies, don't you? With all the business, you get a time to attend funeral and other things that you could avoid within a period. With all the other things, you get time to just sit around, do nothing. With all that, you get time to be on social media longer than you are required to be. With all that, you get time to say, oh, work and no play, make Jack a dull boy, when you know your life is not where it has to be. It's all about discipline. Listen, you can pass the ICA examination if you are willing to prepare. You can pass the ICA examination if you are willing to work hard. You can pass the ICA examination if you are willing to go the extra mile. But if you are not willing, then you're going to punish yourself. And these are the concern of the chief examiner. And these issues cut across all the subjects. And that's why I'm asking you, how prepared are you? Have you sat down to consciously commit 12 to 15 hours every week to study? Consciously? Because you see, there is this mindset about the ICA examination that, it is a 50%, so pass mark is 50%. It's true. Pass mark is 50%. But to get that 50, you have to pay for it. It's not a joke. Check. Sometimes speak to people. People walk into the exam hall and come out with 5%. People go to the ICA examination, write the exam, and their results come, and it is 5%. 5. People go to the exam hall, their results come, and they get 10%. They get 20%. So you think the 50 is easy? No. It requires work. So if you have the mindset that, Charlie, the pass mark is 50%, I can do something small now, I'll be okay. No, mom. It's not just about putting yourself under the pressure, trying to cram things, chew baba and go and pour. No. You don't want to be somebody with certificate with nothing in your brain. You want to be somebody with certificate, with the knowledge and understand what you are doing. Not this chew and poor, baba, akpenato approach that people are adopting. And this is why people are failing the examination on the overall. So are you attending lectures? How effective is the lecture that you are attending? Do you get access to materials? Do you get access to assistants? Do you get access to spend time with your lecturers, to be guided, to be mentored, to be shown what you are supposed to do and what you are not supposed to do? How effective is the learning time? Number one. Number two, do you get the opportunity to study 12 to 15 hours a week? Because that will require some guidelines. That is why, for instance, on our portal, we have the key question, the key summary videos on the principles. Because that way, you go through the syllabus in record time to understand the principles. That's step number one. So this time that you are spending, sometimes you're just going under the summary videos and then you are watching the summary videos, specific principles on key areas of the syllabus so you can put yourself in the position to pass the examination. Then after that, we have the practice question courses where you get access to numerous questions so that the same principle, the same concept, you see it in 3 or 4 different questions and how you approach it based on the context of the question. That is what the 12 to 15 hours weekly thing has to be used for. And by the time you exhaustively go through the key practice videos and then the key summary videos, then the practice questions, you will be ripe. You will be in a better position to go to the exam hall and pass the examination. The goal is not for 50%. So, 50%, you do something small, answer 3 questions and go away. No. The goal is to go into the exam hall and pass excellently. And that is what it takes to pass the examination. Let me hear from you in the comment section any questions you have for me. If there are any issue also that you think may be contributing or be a reason, maybe your personal experience why you failed the examination, you can say it. Recently, I had some students on the call, private mentorship sessions with some of our students, and these are students who have written papers in the past, and then we were having the discussion. And individually, they all acknowledged that, yes, I thought I was doing the right thing in the exam hall, but I now understand why I failed the exam. And I was like, yes, thank God you now understand why you failed the examination. So now you're going to do the right thing in March 2026 so you pass the exam. Because you see, if you don't know what you don't know, you are in darkness. And that is the problem of many people. And that is why when we give assignments here, for instance, and some students don't do it, I'm like, what the heck are you doing with your life? Do you want to write the exam? Because you need to be trained at the end of the day. These are the things you must understand when we talk about some of the things, some of the concerns that a chief examiner raised for the reason why students fail the examination. So I'm seeing some comments coming up here. Let's see if I can address some of them quickly. Joshua Ivami Segbe said, financial reporting and public sector, I think I've spoken about it. If there are any specific areas or issues that you have, you can share that with me. Michael Shelley said, I am writing corporate reporting. I have issue with sustainability merged with ratio. It's an easy area because right now in corporate reporting, if you are looking at, we are evaluating the performance of organizations. It is not only from the financial perspective, we are also looking at the non-financial indicators. Okay, so the financial indicators are what you are familiar with. The profitability ratios, the liquidity ratios, the efficiency ratios, the gearing ratios, and the investors ratio. Those are the financial indicators. Now, almost every examination diet, the examiner is getting goosebumps to bring some non-financial indicators, and sustainability is just part of that non-financial indicators. That's it. And what you are doing with the non-financial indicators is just fusing it into the analysis. So for instance, we may be given a data that, okay, when it comes to the gender ratio, maybe to senior roles, all right, the gender ratio to senior roles, if we can have something like that, meaning that, like, if you look at senior roles in the company, how many men are covering are in those positions, and then how many women. So let's say that 20x5, 20x6. So last year, 20x5, the ratio was 4 men to 2 women. In 20x6, the ratio now is 4 men to maybe 3 women. What does that mean? There is an improvement. What does it mean? It means that the entity is bringing in more women into their key or senior roles and responsibility. And that is a social issue, because it then means that the entity is creating an environment that supports women, that empowers women, which means that it doesn't matter your gender. Once you have the qualification, you can be on the at the senior role for the company, and that adds value significantly to the organization, because the organization is seen as socially responsible, as it is not dominated by men, but it is improving itself in bringing more women into leadership roles. That's a non-financial indicator there in that regard. We can talk about issues in respect of maybe energy consumption. All right? Energy consumption. Maybe when it comes to energy consumption, we look at maybe renewable energy first. Last year, maybe they did 10,000 metric tons of renewable energy. This year, they did 15,000 metric tons on renewable energy. Energy consumption. Okay, so let's maybe just use this one. So if you check, renewable energy is the future. Solar, windmill, all right, and those other ones is the future. So what is happening here? The entity's consumption or energy use has increased from the renewable sources, which is a good thing. What it means is that the entity's energy cost on the overall is likely to be reducing. Then the entity's environmental print, meaning the entity is improving its environmental contribution to ensure that there is less toxic gases in the atmosphere, right? So the move to renewable energy, that adds to the ESG score. Because remember, on the overall, the reason we are where we are now and doing the analysis this way is because of looking at the overall ESG score of a company. That is the environmental, social, and governance score of the entity. So for every organization, we want to find out, what is their environmental issue? Where do they get their energy from? What is the impact of the entity's operation on the environment? What actions or measures has the entity put in place to ensure that its operation does not negatively affect the environment? How is the entity putting in place policies and designing its product to compensate for any environmental damages that its operations will be causing? So this is what is happening here. In corporate reporting now, the examiner is not just doing, hey, the traditional ratio analysis. No, we have those non-financial indicators. And as I said, whatever non-financial indicator we have, we are just going to be analyzing in the context of that and how that affects the social and environmental responsibility of the entity and the overall ESG score of the company. So that is what you need to understand there, Michael Ashley, when it comes to the issue in respect of when sustainability issues are mixed with the ratios. I hope that makes sense to you. Let me know If there are any follow-up questions on that, you can look at it. Again, that is why I keep on saying that you attend the lectures, right? Because if you're attending lectures, some of these guiding principles, even if you're not learning under my mentorship, if you're attending lectures somewhere and you are being taught right, some of these things will be explained to you well and it will not become a problem. Certainly, if you are learning under my mentorship, this is easy. We are going to be doing it, and it's already available that you can get access to as well. TL Jeff Media said, great job. Thank you. It's a pleasure. Thanks for joining us on the stream, TL Jeff Media. In that case, what else do I have? All right. So basically, these are some few things that we want to draw your attention on and bring you up to speed with. That, listen, whatever you need, you have to do it to pass the examination. And it's in your courts. Don't wait 3 days to the exam, 2 days to the exam, and think you will take leave. Because I'm telling you, the whole 12 weeks is not enough for us to thoroughly cover the syllabus. That's the reality. So if the 12 weeks is not enough for us to thoroughly cover the syllabus, why do you think a 6-hour class you will attend or a 12-hour class you will attend somewhere, relying on only that, will make you pass the examination? Like, why do you think that? Because there's no magic. You can't compress the syllabus into 6 hours. It's not possible. You can't. So the only option available is spreading the study time over the period and committing consciously 12 to 15 hours every week on your own to study. That is the only ticket you can take into the exam hall and pass the exam. And I'm very much on this because even up to this time, there are people who are sending us messages. Hey, will you do intervention? Will you do intervention? Will you do... No, we don't do intervention. Our executive reaching masterclass is exclusive for our students because we don't believe in that. We don't do it. Some people are doing it. I don't mean it is wrong or it is right. I don't believe it. I don't believe it for you to sit down 12 weeks, you're not doing anything, and you think that 6 hours or 12-hour class, that is the only thing you can rely on and pass the examination. No, I don't believe it. So I don't do it. We don't do it. Our 2 weeks executive reaching masterclass is exclusive for our students. And that is the time we just spend with our students, dealing with their problems, guiding them, giving them the examination analysis document, providing them with the guidelines on what they are supposed to do going into the exam hall. I don't have time to intervene for you because there is nothing like that. You cannot ignore 12 weeks and think that a 6-hour class will make you pass the examination. You are smoking something. That class is for just sprinkling the salt. It's like garnishing. You finish serving the meal and you just garnish it with some onions, some, salad, like you just garnishing. That 6-hour, 12-hour class is for garnishing the meal, not cooking the meal. You don't cook the ICAG examination meal in 6 hours, in 12 hours. It doesn't happen. So the 6 hours is for garnishing. And so some of you are taking garnishing into the exam hall. And you are ignoring the food, the cooking process. And that is what I want to impress on you. There are people who have come, record time, boom, they are done. People have come, record time, boom, they are done. Why? Because they committed, they sacrificed, they worked hard. They didn't wait for HR and say, 3 days to the examination, let's do some miracle for 6 hours. There is no miracle anywhere. The 6-hour class, the 12-hour class is for garnishing. You don't take garnished meal into the exam hall. You take cooked meal, well prepared with desserts, into the exam hall, and that's how you pass the exam. And I say it as always, because that is the truth. You can choose to accept it or not accept it, but that is the truth. If 12 weeks, we couldn't exhaustively cover the syllabus, why do you think within 6 hours you can go through the syllabus? What are you smoking? And you think that, Charlie, there is a question be here. Charlie, this person, Charlie, there are questions you will solve. So that when I go to the exam hall, the same question will be there. Why are you thinking? You are a professional. You are a professional. You said you want to be a chartered accountant, and you are now looking for Apo. Charlie, this person, Charlie, you want to see which ones, Charlie, let's go. They say his question, sometimes they drop in the exam hall. Yeah. Are you? So you followed Apo from JHS. You are in ICA, professional course, you still want Apo. What are you? Like, who are you? You can't sit down and study. Whilst people are burning the midnight candle and studying, you don't want to study. You are looking for shortcuts. But the truth is this, there is no shortcut. You need to serve. You need to work, because the ICA exam, the way it is now, if you don't study, I can guarantee you, you will go to the exam hall and fail. Poto. Your results will come, you check the results, and you would doubt yourself. Yeah. So please, let's work hard. Let's heed to these things that we've spoken about. Make the sacrifices. Attend lectures. Don't be on this journey alone. Attend lectures. Be guided. Be mentored. Don't wait 3 days to the exam hall, 2 weeks to the exam hall before you start doing something, because you're going to crash. And if you can do that, you will pass the examination in respect of that. So that is basically that. Learn with Chand. A_22 gives us a thumbs up in the chat. All right, Chand, thanks for joining us on the stream today. So that's it about that. That's what we want to draw your attention on today. And we are going. There is a pool or a research document share going around by the ICA, because they are gathering information about what can be done to ensure that students pass the examination. But gleaning from the chief examiner's report, these are some of the things. People digressing because they don't understand the question very well at the end of the day. That's a problem. People selectively learning. That's a problem. Time. That's a problem. And then ill preparedness. That's it. If you study, you will pass. Okay? If you study, you will pass. So, any other questions for me? I'm going to wrap up around here today. And we'll be coming your way as we continue with the discussion for the March 2026 examination. Remember that I'll be speaking at a Career Success Summit 2026 coming on between the 30th and 31st of January. So in the next 2 weeks, that's going to be coming up. In less than 2 weeks, actually, that's going to be coming up. And you can register. It's a free workshop. You can register, and you're going to be having a lot of key industry players talking about various things to help you take your life and career to the next level. So you can check the description of this video and then the comment section as well. The registration link is there. Or you can send us a message on WhatsApp and get the link to register. It's a free event. You can register to join and be part of it. I'm going to be speaking as well on visibility and marketing. So it'll be an interesting session with me speaking on some of those things and how you can take your career to the next level as you do all of these at the end of the day. So that is also something you need to understand and register and be part of it. Just from the comfort of your home. You don't have to travel. Everything is online. So you will be able to join once you have access to the internet, and boom, you can take your career and your life to the next level at the end of the day. So that's it about that. I'm wrapping up here today, and we'll see you in the next session. Thanks very much for joining us. And please, steady. That's all I'm asking you to do. Steady. If you steady, this ICA journey, you will be happy. Okay? And you can walk to the podium pretty soon and take that certificate. Imagine how you will feel that day when you finally become a chartered accountant, when you are going for, you attend your graduation. Just imagine it. Now, let that spirit feed you so you study every day. Let that be the point of your motivation so you study every day, because that is what you need to do in order to pass the examination. Stay safe, and I'll catch you on the next one.